39. Jumping disorderlies, 39. Jumping disorderlies, 39. Jumping disorderlies, 39. 39. 39. 39. 39. Drunk and disorderlies. And then we're going to do some crazy post shit to make that sound like it wasn't what it was.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Boom.
No, you.
Slam dunk,
Killed
dunk,
it.
everybody.
Killed it.
Yes.
We're podcasting.
And that's how you start a podcast.
That is how you start a
do
podcast.
it. Here we are on October 25th, which is also Election Day here in Canada.
Right.
Yeah.
But not when you're listening to this. When you're listening to us, it's probably a week or two after.
When you're listening to
Right
this,
now.
when you're
Reporting the
listening to
events
this, it'll already be over, and either you'll care or you won't.
Classic us reporting the events after they've happened.
It's happening right now.
If you
and I don't
need
care.
last week's news, listen to this podcast.
Yeah, it's true. It's great. It's
say
great.
it.
We are topical like a week after the fact. So occasionally we have like moments where we're talking about what's going on right now. But frankly, that's just ridiculous because y'all know it's not right now anymore. It's a week later.
Right. So what we should be talking about are things that people can't get, which is our amazing anecdotes and tales.
I think we should also just make predictions for what might happen next week. We could do that. Like, you know what's going to happen next week?
True.
Dinosaurs.
We could look into our crystal ball,
Just
which
wait.
today
Just wait. Dinosaurs.
is brought to you by Jägermeister.
Nice. Actually, we were going to do that.
Brought to us by
That's right.
Redacted or we'll get sued.
We're going to start it off.
Skrr.
Start
Right.
off one. I know what's
Well,
one thing I'm doing next week. I'm going to
do.
New York next week.
Oh shit! There's
You-
some news.
unique-
There's some news.
unique
Lars with something
New York.
coming up.
Yeah, my
Thank
brother
God.
lives there, so I'm going down there to see him and do some stand up and
We're
see
getting the people in to come
see
in.
the
Guest shots.
sights,
Guest shots here.
guest shots.
We got 2 guest shots.
Two
Who's
guest
stepping up
shots.
to the guest mic?
All right.
I only see 2 in Luna. So is that you pointing at Luna as well?
All right, either you're in or you're out.
All right, here we go.
If you're out, that's great. But if you're in, now's the time.
Banana Jamma Slamma. For everyone at home, not on video, we are poised to take our celebratory election
Have your
day
medicine.
here in
What's
the
the
Laughing
toast?
Vikings
And Luna's
studio.
licking leftover pizza off my plate, so she's getting hers too.
To
the great Prime Minister.
to democracy.
Yes, thank you.
I'm really glad that won the election because that makes all the difference now, right?
Yes, and I voted for.
But we said this podcast would not get political.
No, that's it. That's the end of it.
So we
So we
acknowledge
lied.
that.
We
Our
lied to
future-
you. We lied to you before, and we're going to lie to you again.
We have lied before.
That's actually another one of the things about this podcast. We will tell you a lot of things, and we will probably lie to you.
You know what? We're just
I won't.
It's the truth, though. We're just trying to be real about life.
So I'm going to take this shot, and I'm going to say this. If you didn't vote for her, then you know what you are? You're just a traitor.
we cleared through that bottle pretty quick. And,
Yeah, it's just a tiny little
cheers
bottle.
to us, everybody.
Yeah.
Can
No.
we get a one up for Rich here? Or what?
Rich, are you in?
I know. Well,
You want a
it wasn't
shot?
at the time, but ladies
All
and
right.
gentlemen, Rich is here tonight, and he is really just
You know Rich.
Like,
And someone just asked him the most absurd
speechless.
question. Do you want a shot?
what I meant was, come over here and have a shot when you're ready.
There's a shot over here. Try to keep him from getting it.
Enjoy your nap, Rich.
Thumbs up for you.
Don't worry. The
everyone
minute
at
you
home.
get sleepy, we're going to read the Terminator, and he knows what that means.
Right.
I love us, but I hate you.
Rich has
And
seen.
since you don't know what that means, we're going to get political again. The Terminator. The Terminator is fantastic.
What's going on
This-
over there?
This is the Terminator. I'm sure this has happened to all of you. You've been kind of inebriated and riding public transit,
And
and you find something sitting next to you, and you discover that Marvel Comics are not the only one who can make really redundant stories interesting again.
is that homoerotic?
It's like a church thing
Yeah.
made into like a
But
less
cool
homophobic.
graphic
it's-
novel.
I'm gonna spoiler alert. If you haven't read the Terminator yet, and you were going to, don't listen anymore. Okay, just plug your ears. Say Hail Marys, you'll be fine. It's the story of David and Goliath. But apparently, Goliath is the Terminator. And from the age of 9, he can like pull trees out of the ground and stuff.
he
Like
is.
he's amazing, right?
Pulling the trees out.
And what's pretty cool is the art is actually not bad. Like, to be fair, it's one of those things. Like, they definitely have somebody working on their team who knows what they're doing. No, I really don't. Actually, like, I don't want to shout out the author because
Is there an
It's
author?
the fisherman's
they're gonna get it
ministries.
anyway. But
Why are you shouting out?
I'm shouting out the publisher.
That's right.
Can Trevor and I do a dramatic reading?
Your Highness.
Apparently, this is
we
from.
believe now we
I wanna-
have an ultimate
Can I do
weapon.
Your Highness? Can I do Your Highness? And then you.
I
do
mean, I
this
guess
guy?
we're doing it now because you're not following along. We did a show last Tuesday and it went really great. It was live.
And Lars ran into a wall.
Yeah.
I did. That's how I have this. If
It wasn't street cred.
All right. In fairness, he's allowing me to be Your Highness. So,
right.
okay, go ahead.
Your Highness, we believe we now have an ultimate weapon.
Wonderful. I've prayed for this great god, dragon, for this.
When he is revealed, all nations will tremble, and our enemies will flee before us.
Footnote, that was Dagon. This is all from the Bible.
All right.
So
There was
blasphemers.
No, there's no R in there.
What do you mean? I'm reading a book.
I'm impressed with his strength. It sounds like we should read it like a Mortal Kombat movie. Yeah, or no,
So-
or what I mean, not Mortal Kombat, but
So continue.
More like
Tell us about this.
Nothing.
I
It's,
think
like
that's
I
it.
said,
Oh,
it's the
that's
story of David.
It's great.
You know, David and Goliath. David, has a sling and kills a very large, semi-mentally challenged man with a rock. And that's the story of us. Because, like, Bible, I don't know.
This Is Us is this book, is what you're saying.
Well, no, it's one of those classical trope stories, but they had to add the Terminator to the cover of it. But I'm just saying, as comic books go, Marvel and DC have to wake up because, like, Jesus is catching on. He's figured out, like, there's a market for, like, idiosyncratic, useless material.
When do they start making Marvel-esque, like, types of...
Jesus.
And Jim lights up.
Jesus.
Whoa,
Christ,
Jim.
Jim, our
Our
audience
studio
member.
audience has lit up here.
The greatest part is I found another one like that a couple weeks back. Actually, my ex-girlfriend was the first one that found it, but then my girlfriend found another one. Anyway, they keep turning up my life, these weird little pamphlets. And I don't see them often, but they're great. And I'm not going to shout out who made them because frankly I think it's weird. But it's weird. But they're hilarious. Like last one was anti-witchcraft. Like if you believe in Wicca or watch a lot of rock videos, you might worship the devil.
Oh crap.
And like, half of Rich?
You're on Luna Patrol.
Shout out to Luna. She's licking plates.
Luna's
we
the
go.
studio dog. Luna, we'll get a shot of her. Come up. We should do that in all of our stuff.
She voted for whoever would leave pizza on the floor. And that was me. So actually, if you're watching this, I'm Prime Minister in Luna Land.
Can I say something about the election? I think
I don't think I can
I think
stop
more
you.
people would vote if this is my theory. I think part of voting is it's a hassle for people to go and find their place, basement of a church.
Find the exact one. I was like, I went into
yeah.
Jimmy Simpson. And I was like,
Yeah.
I'm not.
People
I'm
are
supposed to go
lazy.
to Ralph Thornton, but can I go here, 2 blocks away? And they were like, no, you can't.
It shouldn't be, but people are lazy, and that's why a lot of people don't vote. They're lazy and apathetic, but part of it is laziness, and part of it is trying to figure out where to vote. So my theory, this is direct to the government, the next government. I think all Tim Hortons drive-thrus and Tim Hortons locations should be flipped to voting stations, and like 80% of Canadians will vote as they order a double. I'll take a double and Green Party, please. Excellent, thank you. And then you get like a free Timbit as you go. It's free cookie day. We would all vote.
No straw. Can I
Homeless
please have my
people
little
would
green
vote.
pamphlet?
Right, no straw. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Roll.
It feels like that, doesn't it?
Roll up the rim to vote. Yeah.
I think it's funny that McDonald's Coast to Coast Monopoly comes back at exactly the same time as the federal election because it feels kind of the same. Like, did I get a free coffee this year? Nope, just got that guy. Fuck. Yeah, unlikely.
Can you?
Sorry, I'm not making predictions, but Green Party, you're never getting elected in this country. It's just not happening.
We said we weren't going to talk about it.
Yeah, but then you keep talking about it. You drag me in. You get me
I
drunk. You
know
talk
you
about
got-
politics. What do you think I'm
I
going to do? You
know
think
you
I can
got-
control my mouth?
No.
After 39 drunk at fucking Disorders, you think I can suddenly go, wait a second. I have an opinion, but I'm not going to share it.
Wait, watch the tape back, and I submit to this conversation. So I'm just voicing my.
I didn't want to talk. For the record, I didn't want to talk about
He
politics.
did. He said that. That's
Twice.
why I'm so.
I said it twice.
I was like, that's gonna happen.
Let's anything about your weekend? You were at Oktoberfest in the weekend. Anything you want to share there?
Who voted for that?
Yes. Who voted for that? The leftover
Germans.
in Little Berlin, which is now Kitchener.
I think the Germans sort of voted for Oktoberfest like 1900 years ago and just kept voting for it every year for the rest of time. And most of us agree with that one. It's like, yep. I think we can all actually. That's the Oktoberfest party. I would have voted for that this year.
See that? Oh, get it?
Beat that one.
Their
Nice.
whole platform's just based on sausage and beer.
Yeah. Like schnitzel, sausage, dancing, and beer.
Which
If
Jim
you don't
says
like,
you
any,
don't
if you don't like
believe-
any of those things, you're not allowed to play. That's it.
only take so much.
You can only
We
take so
believe
much.
in
That's-
schnitzel for all
And these are
and beer for all.
You know what? If people did that, they'd be pretty fucking happy and content.
I
I'll tell
think
you
beer
that.
for all in Canada would sell you pretty much right away.
Yeah.
And the beers.
Like, I mean, that divide, but also
That-
that
I'm saying
divide, that crosses the border divides. Like, I'm sorry, Quebec, just like free beer. East Coast, free beer. Prairies, free beer. People like BC might be like, can we still do heroin? But yes, you can, and free beer.
The free beer party. Just free beer. That's all the
It's a good
signs.
platform. You get massive steins.
pretty good.
And you get, deep fried goodness.
What you do is you replace all of the public water systems with beer taps. So everyone just gets beer out of their tap and no one has clean water. But then you never have to worry about Flint, Michigan or the indigenous villages because everyone just has clean beer running 24/7. They get all the water they need out of their beer taps. And
Duh.
Also Canadian. Who wants that?
right, kind of like water. Yeah.
It's kind of like, we're back at the original problem.
Right.
Anheuser supposed to jump and saying, you're drinking this.
All right.
And it'd be like, what is it? It's called swill.
All right.
that bad.
Well, maybe I'll retract that as a campaign promise, but I do believe in the Tim Hortons idea.
That one's pretty strong. That one, you should rest your laurels on that one.
I don't know. I kind of like digital technocracy. I like the idea that we could vote on more things and leave less to bureaucrats. Because we could. I mean, almost everyone carries a smart device.
Right.
On them.
Well, everything gets, like, whenever you see those online polls where it's like, vote for, like, do you think blah, blah, blah should get kicked off the island? Like, they have fan votes
Yeah.
on all that stuff.
Yeah.
Everyone tunes into that shit.
Well, again, I think if you gave everyone like a can pad or something, and it was like, here's your whatever. As soon as you're allowed to vote, you get one of these. It's like fine. And all it does is get posts and updates on political matters. We've talked about this before, right? Democracy only functions with a certain level of intelligence. You have to be able to share intellectual ideology. You can't. Stupid people make stupid democracies. That's just a fact.
Well, and echo chambers develop, right? Where just like mini versions of truth start popping up across the country where people only believe what they're told based
Sure.
on their community or their sort of immediate belief in the truth. But if you have constant informed, like nationwide where like everyone's being informed about what's going on uniformly, because you have to go out and seek this information. You have to go find
Absolutely.
it.
No, absolutely.
And
And
where are
it's
people
not-
getting
also-
it from? Where certain
and again,
sources, it's all
that
different.
also flatlines the argument about fake news or stupid website propagandas.
Right.
Because here's the thing. If you don't have to look for it and it's a verified source, like, for example, the government is just sending you the information. This bill is on this.
So-and-so is pro this.
Yeah,
Calling
not
Swipe
even-
left
not even,
or
again,
swipe right.
not even-
That's all. We want.
No, it's more than
Just
that. It's more than that. You're cutting the figureheads out because at that point you don't need a political leader to tell you what the party is doing. The party platform is posted, and it kills the popularity contest. You see, so rather than having figureheads telling us, well, this is what our party will do for you. The party just posts, this is what we're going
What
to
if-
do, and you vote yes or no on those things.
Yeah. So
And the things you vote yes for get done, and the things you vote no for don't.
what about for people that don't know where they stand? They don't know if they're a liberal or an NDP or what.
Again, I don't think that really
how
matters.
about this? Well, how about this? How about if they were given a survey of questions where they're like, do you feel this or that? In this subject, would you prefer
Absolutely,
this or that?
and
then people
surveys
select
like
their
that
answers,
can be given constantly, and not
and
just that.
they'll come out and be like, oh, based
Also,
on your answers,
synopsis
you're
of
more
what
of
the
an
law
NDP or you're more
or what the
conservative.
law means when it comes to how you vote on it. So I mean, really, what we care about is what the legal bearing on what we have done or said matters in the future. So look, when we change laws, we change them to make our lives better, not to make them worse. But most of us don't understand how party politics changes laws and how the government actually functions when it makes law. What I'm asking for or thinking about in this is a concept in which the government educates us on what it intends to do and then asks our opinion. So instead of just polls and asking for, which figurehead do you think represents your, virtue signaling this week, you're actually educated individually on the issues at hand based on pure demographics, like actual numbers, facts, not the fallacies of political politics where everyone's trying to garner your vote by sympathy or by fiat. Instead, it's like, these are the issues we're facing. Okay? Unemployment is this high. How can we lower it? Our GDP is crashing like this. How do we raise it?
Well,
we need to increase production. How do we do it? So, again, because democracy only functions in a highly intellectual society.
And I feel like a lot of different angles are pumping out different numbers, and you're not sure who to listen to and who to believe.
Exactly.
Right?
And that's what I mean when I say the bureaucrats who calculate these numbers for the government, like, for example, Stats Canada and whatnot, they have no vested interest in lying to you because these are not elected officials.
Right. These are the people doing their
These
jobs.
people have their jobs probably for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, my mom was Stats Can. Like, no
You know what I
doubt.
mean?
Yeah, I get it.
Like, it's a part of the bureaucracy. It's going to be there. It's like the guys at the tax office don't care who's in office. Their job is not to set tax law. Their job is to collect taxes and calculate tax money and revenue, right? So if you cut the figureheads out who are vying for your attention, but don't actually have a job in politics, like their job is to stand in front of you and say, "My party says this." Well, we can find that. We can read that.
We should be able to. Yeah,
Right?
that information.
There's no reason why we need somebody to wander around and say, "Well, look, I appeal to this demographic or I appeal to that demographic or whatever." Right?
So what? It's from a time when that was the way to get information, right? Was a figurehead would share that, would distribute that. If that's the old soapbox theory, right? Where you get up
Absolutely.
and you say what's what.
Absolutely.
But now that information is readily available.
And a lot
Anyway.
of 21st century politics is being influenced very heavily by the fact that we have digital media. I mean, we've seen this time and time again. In fact, all these arguments about fake news and what is media and what role it plays and what role does the internet play in elections. And these are questions that you see in the news every day.
Shouldn't it just be whoever has the most Instagram followers runs the fucking country?
I mean, at this
Like,
point,
that's a
now,
democracy right
Well,
there.
actually,
Follow
that
who
is-
you want.
in
that
who
is-
you
October
believe in,
2019, that's where we're at.
Listen to what they
But
say
that is
and
that is
fucking
more
share their
that is more
message.
democratic than the system that we have right now.
That legit makes more
saying.
sense.
I mean,
And
it
it's,
is.
Said in jest,
It's-
but it's also true.
It's no longer voting day or election day. It's just swipe day. It's like, are you swiping today? You're gonna swipe on Monday? Yeah, I'm gonna swipe on Monday. And you just swipe left or right, and then
Like,
you
really,
just
it should be an app that comes to your phone and it goes, "Are you going to vote? Yes. Who are you going to vote for? Bam,
Bloop.
done.
Done.
Like, why am I walking to some fucking?
right.
We don't have machines
Again, I
to
totally
count.
know. I
though.
totally agree with you. I
We
totally
have
agree with
people
you.
counting
But the
our
point
votes
is,
here.
but again, the point is, you shouldn't even have to vote for a person. You
That's
shouldn't
true.
have to worry about that.
Oh.
That's true.
Oh,
Because
we,
at the end of the day, what does that matter?
we got to speak up here.
Here, I have another thing. One sec. I think there should be like it seems fucked up to me that we have a government and laws that seem to allow governments to say they're going to do shit and they never fucking do it. Like, if you were to look at the track record of here are our campaign promises and here's what we've done, what are they? I would say they're batting.
It's
probably
because of the
20% or
removal of
less.
one public object that used to be in every town square for most of recorded history.
A noose.
The stocks.
Right.
Oh,
Oh,
not
yeah?
even the guillotine.
Nope, the stocks. If you put a politician in the public stocks for one day, for every time he lied on a campaign promise, I guarantee you'd have an honester brand
It's
of
just
politician.
accepted now.
Or a better liar, but either way,
Kept him accountable.
I'd accept it more.
Has easy example has there ever been a political party that said, "Oh, we're going to balance the budget, or we're going to operate like we're going to get rid of the deficit, or we're going to
Yeah.
operate in
John
the"?
Ketcheson, twice.
Have they ever? Did he do it?
He did it.
He did
That's
it,
amazing.
He did it once.
oh, okay. So he never promised it. He just
No, actually,
did it.
that makes sense.
That's good. That's under
Actually, I
promise, over
forgot that.
deliver.
You're right. He under-promised and overachieved.
That's huge.
That's
way
huge.
better.
I mean, everyone still says it's one of the
That's what if I were.
I've
to-
always said JC for life. I really have. I'm not
We grew up
kidding.
with some good times, man. It's a good
That's
time.
one of the problems.
That's
I
a
think that's
leader right
another
there.
one of the problems we
Who
have in
cares what
Canada as
party he was
millennials
for? He's a
too.
good man.
As people in our generation voting, we had like 8 years of pretty amazing government followed by dubious but functional.
But
And-
very corrupt,
But
apparently.
I said
Oh,
dubious
dubious, yeah.
but functional,
Correct.
followed by
Imperial.
we're not sure what the fuck is going on anymore.
That was Imperial rule. Like
That
Harper extended his fucking iron hand.
Well, he
on
did the
that
quiet
government.
conservative, which means I have all the control and I'm not going to talk about it.
Yeah.
Which, hey, whatever, you know,
Hey, he wrote us through.
it could be a lot
He
worse.
wrote us through 2008. Pretty good.
Yeah,
So
we had some seriously
all
dark
the-
times
all
in the
the
earth,
arts
and
haters
as
were
much of a
like-
dick as he might have been.
yeah, everything
like
that got cut.
Don't
we
get me wrong.
survived.
Don't get me wrong. Those fireside chats in the sweater vest just about had me in insurrection.
Insurrection. Sorry, we're still gonna get
Yeah.
get to. Okay, we gotta go.
Yeah, but also his band. I mean, did you hear his band?
who? Stephen Harper's band? Is that
Oh
what we're
my
talking
goodness,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
He played it on the second election.
Yeah, he
The
did.
one where he lost.
What was
He
his
played
name?
it
Yeah.
that night.
Catch,
And-
catch
about?
Your-
Fuck Stephen
Catch Your
Harper. We
Banks
shouldn't
or
even be
something like
talking
that?
about
It's
him.
like-
He's like Voldemort. We shouldn't even be saying his name. He's
especially
an
when
evil
talking about
person. His
taking off the hijab.
the net
and stuff.
result of his life is negative across the world. I
I'm
would
just
say
saying,
that.
taking off the hijab.
They're,
and
they're
his,
evil
and,
people.
and
Yeah,
his-
I would say
and his
that.
band
I'd say
was
that about
terrible.
Trump. I'd say that
Yeah,
about
his-
plenty of people.
Just forget about everything. I know he's racist, but forget his band was terrible.
There's certain people that if you multiply them, the world would be for sure a worse place. I
Okay.
think that's my judgment of a
Hold
person.
on.
If more people were like you,
No,
would the
no,
world be better or
because if
worse?
you just straight multiplied them, they'd hate each other. And after
Oh,
a while,
okay.
they'd reach
They'd kill each
critical
other?
mass.
That's
All
a
right,
good
all
strategy.
right. Halal boy needs to check in here, so we gotta go.
Kareem in
Are
the
you
house.
Seriously gonna call me that? Don't. No, I was just gonna.
That was
comment
for
on
you,
your
Jabril.
app
That was
idea.
for you.
That touches on so many security laws. that I
Oh,
don't
whatever.
even-
We all gave up on that long
I
ago.
just don't
Who
know where to
cares?
start. Like if
If we can have our banks secure, we can have our voting secure. That's a cop out.
because the phone will have to know that it's actually you, and they're not allowed to actually be okay. This phone is with
Right.
this.
So
fucking
maybe we
specific
go
person.
somewhere. That's
But
why
what about
you,
a
I mean, you need
fingerprint?
a
Yeah,
Biometrics,
but the
man.
like,
Very
you
simple.
can unlock your phone with your fingerprint,
Right.
but you don't. It's not linked to your governmental ID.
sure.
Could be.
Could be like they could
And
be like
that's,
to
like-
to
There's
get
got to
in.
be a better way though than what we're
But
doing right now.
Linking your biometrics on your phone to what the government has on you is an invasion of your privacy.
there would be an equivalent to
It
me
is if you believe
showing
you still
my
have privacy.
to me showing my
you own a
driver's
smartphone and you
license
shopped at a
today,
store
and I
anytime in
walked
the
up
last
and just
10
showed my
years, your
driver's
privacy has
license,
been
and he was
violated.
like, "Yep,
Believe
you're
you
the
me.
guy." And so there's got to be equivalent to doing that on a phone, is what I'm saying.
I get phone calls from a bank. I'm not going to say which one because you know who you are. Who then immediately switched to a Chinese translator because of some porn I downloaded or something. They don't know where they got the metrics from. They're like, this guy needs a Mandarin translator for his bank account. And so they call me from a bank I don't have an account with a Mandarin translator and try to sell me things. I know my privacy's been violated because why are you calling me and thinking that I'm Mandarin? If you haven't like read my biometrics wrong. I get calls from like foreign countries asking me to invest in anything. Me? Invest in things? Look at my bank account statement. It has just enough money to pay my phone bill once a month. Is that convenient or what? Like, you know what I mean? What might be going on there? I'm broke. Like, stop calling me about real estate. I don't have any.
Politics, am I right?
Yeah, we're gonna have to. That's the title of this,
This would be that'd be
episode.
my platform would be like, vote for me because
That is the
What is
title
happening
of
here?
this episode.
what's happening?
Would you,
Nothing.
would
I was
you
going
like to play that on loudspeaker on the mic for all of us? to
So,
hear?
What I want,
Jim,
so
one
I
of our
got-
audience
I got
members
the
is just
whole
playing
thing
his
where it
voicemail.
comes through and it says hi.
Now, please wait.
Now
I'll give
please
you
wait for a
translator.
Mandarin, and
Yeah.
then it went, "Prrrr," and I was just like, who the heck is
And why are
doing?
you calling me?
Why did you start in English and then switch to Mandarin? That
And no, and the fact that it keeps happening. If it was like one time I got that call, I'd be like, okay, that's a mistake. It makes sense. But it's not. It's like now we call you a lot and try to sell you products for our bank in Mandarin. I mean, it kind of makes me want to learn Mandarin. Because I want to know what kind of rates I could get if I were Mandarin. Be like, do you guys have different rates? Like, what's up?
I
Like,
want there to be more cause to learn Mandarin. And I know there's a lot in the business world sense, but as an arts douche, I'm like, there's no reason except if I did like a play or something. So I want Mandarin.
Are you sure it wasn't?
Chinese cinema? World of cinema is
Huge.
literally just behind Hollywood.
It's true. They have
So
come
you
in
got-
the last like 2 years. There's so many more Chinese productions happening right now.
yeah. So you got plenty of reasons.
All right.
That-
All right. I'm gonna
that-
start Mandarin.
that, Karim, yes, that is true. I will agree with
Hey.
you. Statistically, that is absolutely correct. However,
Jim,
have you
when you
watched
don't have the audience mic, you can't
a
speak.
lot of like the top class Chinese films? They're interesting. Not particularly fantastic, but they're interesting.
There's a lot of money.
So
There's a lot
I-
of money. They
so I
throw a
said-
lot of money.
So I
and-
said Ben Kingsley played the Mandarin because they didn't want to offend the Chinese people. And in Iron Man 3, in the Chinese cut, there's a whole different section where he gets his whatever cut out of him in China because they have the best doctors.
Nice.
You wouldn't see that in North America.
Makes
Of
sense.
course not.
I understand what you just said.
He's
Well,
he's explaining the difference between an American release movie and when it's in China, they often re-edit it as they see fit if they don't like shit.
It sounds like Chinese ways of ruling.
Are you sure it wasn't Mandarin Buffet calling to offer you a discounted buffet?
But you guys do know that all of these calls are not from actual banks, right?
Yes, of course.
Okay. Just making sure.
Telemarketing corporations who work for banks and
Wait,
everyone else.
what?
I wasn't
it's
being
funny
it wasn't
because
being scammed
I
because
got a call, literally a guy talking about for me to grab insurance about my house.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Yeah, we got your record in here." I was
Yeah, they dumb.
like, "Bruh," like,
Just pay the money, Kareem.
I lived in a I lived
So
in a
sure
one
your
I
house-
lived in a-
Getting a
in
house?
one bedroom basement apartment for a
Too
while,
risky.
and
Not
used to
liquid.
get routine calls about having my siding cleaned in the one bedroom basement apartment.
You're like, where I come from, getting my siding clean is going to cost a little more than that.
So after the 10th or 15th call, I was like, "Hey guys, you know what? You shall just come by and clean my siding. How much you have? Like about 2 inches of soffit and fascia underneath the window that I can sort of see out into the street. Probably
Better
take you guys
safe than
like
sorry.
What kind of
30 seconds. Just turn the pressure washer on and go, psh. What do you think that'll cost?" I'm like, "What? Well, anything to keep you guys from fucking calling me again. So if you have to show up and do that, please, but just stop calling."
what kind of innuendo do you think "clean my siding" evokes? What do you think? What's your image?
I'll clean your gutters.
No, I want siding. We'll go to gutters.
Yeah,
It's siding.
siding's like rag on a stick for me. That's one of those like, shit, that one's got siding. Like,
She'll clean the siding right off you.
All right, let's move along.
when you're comparing your
You wanna
lovers
go-
to houses,
You want to go from siding to gutters, so
Let's
I don't know
move
where you
along.
want to move.
my lover's an economy.
That's-
She
no,
was
that's-
good on the
that's-
market. I picked her up cheap.
Let's go
I'm gonna
from-
sell her for a profit. Like,
Gutters to siding to shingles. We'll do that. Yeah. All right.
Sounds like we're just building
Next
a house
topic.
now, okay? Just sounds
Next
like we're doing
topic.
construction.
What else are we talking about tonight?
Oh, tonight we're talking about crit, and it happens.
Talking about what?
oh yeah,
What? Get with the program, man.
that happens.
Oh, crit.
Yeah, that's a tabletop role playing game reference for those of you who don't have any fun.
So wait, it's crit. Sorry, for anyone who doesn't know, what
Hey.
is it? That might be me.
Hey,
Get on.
you can't
the
be
mic.
speaking right
Jim.
now. You need to shut the fuck up, or you need to have a microphone in your hand. That's podcast rules.
Yes, but a critical failure is a 1, and that's why crit happens.
Could also be a title of this episode.
Crit happens.
Well,
This
we
whole
definitely
episode.
rolled a
Hard
1
no
on
from the
trying not to
producer,
talk about
so-
politics.
This episode's a shit show, is what this is.
No, we came in and we had high energy. We talked about this. We had a good pregame. We really.
And Rich is asleep. Hey. That's how we know we're halfway down the episode. Rich falls asleep. Rich has been here for the first half of a ton of episodes and not so much of the second half.
Lars
like a lot
did
of
wish him a
episodes.
good night's sleep right before we started.
great.
So
It's great. That's great.
So, I don't think it matters what we were going to talk about tonight. I really don't. I think we've lost the thread so far that
You've had a 30 minutes introduction so far, so
Yeah.
But
Like
I
I
think
said.
you know what you want to
Yeah.
say.
I think we lost the thread. So
Right
tonight, what
now.
I was going to talk about,
No, but
and I
you're
guess
not.
I
Never
can
let the truth get in the way of a good yarn.
I can touch on it and let it roll.
You told me to talk more.
These two
I don't know. what
sharing
you want.
notes. So what I was going to talk about tonight, before we got sidetracked, which is kind of funny because I guess it makes sense that we got sidetracked, is
We got siding tracked.
yeah. Oh, we did. We did back with the house jokes again. So I think that one of the issues that we've talked about on the show, sort of colloquially and kicked back and forth, but never really actually stepped on, was sort of the responsibility for all of it. Like the reason the whole thing exists. And that's actually, surprisingly enough, mental illness, trauma. I mean, again, we've touched on all kinds of different episodes and experiences, right, that have made life harder and made it weirder and stranger and more fun and sometimes more violent and sometimes more exciting. But at the very end of the day, all of these stories and all of this sort of fun that we've been having comes down to two factors, right? Substance abuse and mental illness, which is crazy because I think about recovery from that and the long road to do so. And it's kind of a hopeful story. But you think about it individually and independently, and a lot of these episodes involve the ruin of people's lives. You know, the wreckage of many people's human encounters with each other, you know, families, individuals, friends, social groups, whatever. And I was at the movies with my brother this week, and we had a conversation afterwards about like what it's like to, you know, I don't know, have difficulties with your mental health and dealing with my mother's death and my injury at the time and just long-standing issues with life in general. I sort of have a perspective on that, you know, and I knew when my mother died that I was in a transitional phase, period. It was either I was going to do something dramatically different with myself or I wasn't going to make it. And a lot of people don't confront their own point break. But when you do, you got two choices. You break or you don't. And I've said it before that choosing to survive through tragedy is one of the reasons that all these crazy things happened. But the secondary reason that all that happened is because I was surviving through tragedy by being crazy. You see what I mean? I gave up control. I abdicated control in order to allow life to heal me or kill me. It was like, well, I can't control this anymore. The chaos is too much. I'm going to roll the dice. Let the dice deal with it. It's kind of funny. I'm wearing a shirt that says, crit happens. But that was the truth. You know, drinking to die, partying like there was no tomorrow, living that whole like burnout, die young, rock and roll, crazy lifestyle.
Wait, are you naming
Let the
song
man
titles?
talk.
Is that what you're doing?
Yeah,
now?
I guess I am.
Burn out to die. Party. What was it? Party till you die.
These are all going to be on the 39DD album.
Right.
Check for that release.
Say them
soon,
again.
Right?
Yeah.
Coming off of Universal Records very soon.
Drink till you die. Party like there's no tomorrow. It's great.
Live fast, die young.
Yeah, there you go.
No, the point is, that was it though. The ideology was like, okay, you can change your life, but the only way to do that is do things you've never done before, and do as many crazy things you've never done before as you can. Otherwise, you're still you, and you're still fragile, and you're gonna this moment is gonna do it to you instead. So take charge. And so yeah, I partied so fucking hard to try and run away from the moments that were real, that I created moments that were so real no one believes they ever happened. It was like, man, I just, you can't see the crazy till you throw yourself right off the bridge. It's like, you don't believe it's even there. You fell off the wagon. I'm like, what wagon? I don't have any fucking wagon. I mean, that thing burning in the distance on the hill back there? Oh, yeah, that was kind of wagon-like. You're right, man. That's pretty intense. It's
great.
And when you sit down and realize that's the chain reaction, that one decision, like, I'm not going to survive this. The trauma's too much for me. I can't take it. So instead of taking it, I'm just not going to. I'm not going to. Fuck that. I'll let the world deal with it. I'll just be part of that for a while. Like, land whale of drunkenness. Like, just, woo. I don't give a fuck what happens to me. How could I care? Right? And when my brother asked me that, like, what, because he knows I've had some struggles with shit over the times. And he was like, so what the fuck? Like, how, what's that like? And I'm like, man, you know what? It's almost pointless trying to describe it. Because if I did, you might go crazy. Because that's the thing. Like, you look too deep into it, it might just bend you, right? And if I didn't explain it, you just have to live with your fantasies and try and understand. And I'm not a very sympathetic person. So other people's like, well, I had a hard time and shit was rough, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I know I'm not the coolest guy to tell these stories to because I try to share, but I don't. And the reason I don't care is because I think everyone lives in a perpetual state of sort of self-destructive, borderline, razor's edge behavior. We all just carry our burdens barely because I think most of us try and lift what we can carry. If you're a real person, if you have any decency and self-respect, you try to carry what you can carry. And sometimes we pick up too much. And so I think all of us live one step away from your own fucking 39 drunken disorderlies. You live right there. You're one step from taking that step and just saying, fuck it, I don't care anymore. So it's just going to do this until it's crazy and done. And then it goes on long enough, you might have a moment of clarity and be like, wait a second, it's not going to kill me anymore. I've lived this long, it's not going to kill me. So maybe I have to try and find a way to live now. And that's another step altogether. That's like the next growing up phase. You lay aside childish things. You say to yourself, I can do this. It's hard. It's fucking devastating sometimes, but I think it's better than the alternative of surrendering to our failures and surrendering to our weaknesses and surrendering to our fears and losing everything. Because, as pathetic as you fucking feel, and I felt pretty fucking pathetic over the years, I've always thought to myself, at least there's someone out there that cares. There's some reason to carry on, If I didn't, I wouldn't be here making this idiot show with you awesome guys.
Cheers to that.
Right?
So do you think did you like grow out of it or turn a corner? Obviously you still drink, you still party pretty hard, but not to that crazy degree.
It's a dwindling thing. As I need less and less support with my own mental health, I need less and less of the old lifestyle. It's become part of my life, but I've also learned how to do that in an adult fashion. Like now working security doesn't mean just going to work and being completely wasted all the time. Now, yes, I do often party pretty hard, but that's more controlled by far than it ever was. I don't get arrested. I don't pass out places I shouldn't most of the time, You're
usually not the guy instigating the fights. You're just trying to render them done. Do you think you'll ever not drink? Would you ever stop drinking?
Oh, yeah. If, for example, if for medical reasons I was like, the doctor said, yeah, you keep drinking, you're going to kill yourself, I probably would stop drinking. And that's because there's too many people who rely on me, both emotionally and just physically. And I don't surrender to anything. So it was like, well, you have to stop this or you're just going to die. Well, okay, I'll stop because otherwise you're just dying and that's stupid.
What's the longest you've not drank?
Months.
Yeah.
I've had a series of issues. I mean, I was on.
Was that usually medical?
Usually.
Yeah.
I was on antibiotics for a bone infection. I was on an IV pump for a long time, and then on heavy antibiotics, and I don't fuck with that shit. When the doctor says you do something, I don't have a fucking PhD, so I'm going to listen to that man. You know what I'm saying? Like, he knows what's up.
Right. Yeah.
I'm also very honest with my doctor, too. Like, I'm not one of those guys who walks in and they're like, okay, so, Mr. Malcolm, do you think that it might be because of? I'm like, it's probably because of. And if you're going to ask me what it is that I do, it's probably a shorter list to ask me than what I don't do. So let's just chill out on that one, okay? And if you think that one of my symptoms is probably related to one of the things I may or may not do, just say so. And he's like, okay. I've never had my doctor be like, yeah, you see, I think. And years ago, I totally did. I absolutely had a doctor be like, yeah, here's the thing. You're like fucked on drugs all the time. That's probably bad for you. I'm like, well, yeah. Okay. He's like, are you going to change anything? Like, no. But advice taken. Like, I get it. You're right. It's probably the drugs.
It's probably the drugs. One of the things that we always talked about when we were starting this show was wanting to make it clear to people that a lot of this stuff was in the past. So this is like kind of a retrospective look rather than a fuck yeah, drinking and getting fucked up's amazing. Like this was sort of you look back and sort of diagnose it and dissect it now.
Yeah, analyze and understand.
And one of the things I think Trev and I remember talking to you about this was we were like cautious even starting this because in our heads we didn't want to be in a situation where having this show meant that we always needed to be getting more fucked up and creating new drunken disorderlies because then do we just create a monster that's gonna like kill us all and just be bad for us, whereas like now we have this TV show where you have to get like super fucked up or where you every time you're doing it you have to go party like crazy just to generate another story for the show. So we always talked about how if we didn't want to go down that spiral, we wanted it to be sort of more a hindsight kind of thing.
I would argue that also because it's establishing character. It's sort of giving people an idea of what someone like me is. I mean, I'm not like a lot of people. I don't have the 9 to 5. I'm not understandable to most people. You walk up to a guy like me, a 7-foot dude in a cowboy hat on the street corner, and most people don't say, hey, I wonder what this guy's creative life is like, Is he an artist? They're like, I better not spit on this guy's shoe by accident or he'll break my spine. And it's like sometimes we're just trying to say hi to people. You see it in their faces. And I've lived that my entire life, And then there's the stupidity of just also somewhat being that guy. It's like, well, yeah, okay, so you're right. I do work in an industry where I punch people sometimes. In fact, unless you're in a combat sports environment, I probably punch people more than most people do. But I know a lot of people who've never had a fucking fist fight, which I find just insane. Like, what happened? Where were you living? Like, what world was that? Because I couldn't get away from it. I got my ass kicked all the time. It was like, what do you mean you never had a fucking fist fight? What, you just like, you know what I mean?
I don't know.
Sailed through it. I don't understand that one. I never understood. Like one of my friends, my drummer back in the day, one of my drummers in a crazy hardcore punk band. Started talking to him. I'm like, Spider, you've never been in a fist fight. He's like, well, no. I mean, like when I was 5, 6 years old, like a little scuffle. I'm like, no, seriously though. Seriously, like you went to high school, college, you like all this time. You've been a drummer in punk bands. You toured. You've never been in a fist fight. And he's like, no. And I'm like, well, you better buckle up, brother. I'm like, because we're playing some interesting venues, and it's gonna get weird. And one night he's super drunk, and that's why I call him Spider. He's like, I have 8 arms to kill you, and he's just wasted, little dude. And I was like, all right, just get behind the drum kit. I got this one. You know what I mean? Like, man. But yeah, so I mean, I don't even know how. I don't even know how you live in a world where violence has just passed you by like that.
I think I have a theory because I had the same issue of so I would talk to some people and they would not understand how I got into fights and why some people treated me a certain way.
Sure.
And I think it's just because people judge you on the way you look. So if, for example, like you're a 7-foot guy, a guy that's drunk or a guy that has something to prove, a guy that has the ego to stroke will go after you for sure. I'm a tall black guy, which is...
And handsome as fuck, ladies. Handsome as fuck.
Okay. The fact that it's only guys that said that is disturbing, but thank you. Yeah, but what I'm saying is that for me personally, For example, I scared a young lady going home because I literally we lived in the same building.
Yeah.
And I was walking beside her, and she started fucking running away from me. And I was my theory is just because of the way you look. If you look a certain way, people would think, okay, if I fight this guy, I will look tough. Or if I fight this guy, that will accomplish something.
You know what I love about that, though? That is the worst advice that anyone has ever had. Because you know what you look like? You don't look tough. You look like you're going to the hospital in a fucking gurney. Okay? And that's not a tough look. This whole strapped to a backboard look, that's not the one that gets you to chicks, okay? They're looking for the Snake Plissken scar like this guy gave himself. Not the I now need a wheelchair for 6 months because I'm a tough guy.
I ran into a wall and I look like a tough guy. My answer when people are like, "What happened to you?" and I'm like, "I got hurt in play." Oh yeah, that's as badass as it gets.
And then they look at him like, you can just say it's domestic assault, you know.
Right? That's what it feels like. It feels like I feel like a abuse victim saying like,
I walked into a door.
I fell down the stairs.
Yeah.
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 The crazy thing too is
He wouldn't shut up.
you don't know you know this, but you don't. This past weekend, I also just took my possessions and acquisitions licensing course for firearms, and I was just thinking to myself how fucked it is that the same guy who last week ran into a wall now is eligible for a firearm. And it was like I felt like if I was on the other side of the table, the first thing he should have asked be like, "Oh, you have a black eye. How'd you get that?" And I'm like, "I ran into a wall." I'm like, "Sorry, you can't take your firearm."
You see, I really like fighting people, and I
Right.
think I should have a gun.
Right.
Well, I get hit a lot, and I think it would happen less if I had a gun. And they're like, yeah, no.
They actually, I mean, I'm doing it for film and television purposes, but they don't ask you why you're doing it. And I would have been, if he had asked me, it's like, "Lars, why? So what brings you here today? Why are you taking your possessions and acquisitions license?" My answer would have been, "Because I hate that wall so much. I'm gonna shoot that wall so much." And I just
My
go.
boyfriend pistol whipped me, and I want to even the
I'm
odds.
gonna go back to the staircase theater and just shoot up that wall as soon as I get a gun.
You wouldn't be the first person in Toronto to shoot up a building because of a production, I'm sure.
Right? Yeah, but it's healing well, and I've got a new. I'm gonna have like a badass
That's
car.
my shout out to Hamilton right there.
Right?
Does nobody know what's going on? Does nobody know context? They think you ran into the wall.
What do you
That's
mean?
it.
Well, do you want to explain it?
Do we know the stakes?
We haven't done the whole story. No one's told the whole story.
Who-
We've hinted at it. It happened in a show. You know
anyone
this.
want to hear the
Yeah.
story? Does Rich want to hear the story?
Rich is sleeping.
It was a great live theater moment. These guys were doing a scene that included a bloody face and sort of
Well,
bloody shirt.
Not really a bloody shirt, not a face.
Right, but the face didn't hurt.
It didn't hurt.
Not at all.
except
Because
for
especially because the
Lars.
audience was, well, we don't care about that. The show must go on. So Lars decided to make a quick stage, change of costume because it was part of the act, and he went booking off. But the lights go down, and that black rectangle that is the, offstage area is just as black as the black dark wall next to it, and the black dark door frame next to that. And you miscalculate by
I just got
6
there
inches or
a
something,
little
and
sooner than I expected.
next thing you
Yeah.
know, you were domestically assaulted by a wall at a bar.
So I'm working the booth, and
Jim was
usually it's in theater it's bright red because it has to be bright red.
Yeah.
And then I'm doing all the stuff, and then scene change, blackout, He comes up, I look over and I'm like, oh, that's brown red. That's a different shirt because that wasn't the same shirt yet. That's blood, but I can't focus on that because I got focus on everything else. And I'm
So
like,
you knew something was up right away.
well, I mean,
Yeah.
I know what blood looks like on a
So-
shirt, and and
tell-
that wasn't, so that was funny.
So tell the story from your perspective.
Well, I mean, it just that I heard the noise from off stage, obviously before my entrance. So I'm like, hey, something derp happened, like
Right.
Sort of
just
like-
collision.
So I'll explain the first bit. First scene, we come out. At the end of it, it goes blackout. What I normally do in the dark is I reach for the knife that I've just dropped. I'm botching an assassination attempt. The guy sees me. I drop the knife. I go to reach for it, and then the lights go down. And
You guys all know what this is like.
in the dark, I'm like, yeah, we've all been there, right? You're trying to kill a guy with a giant knife, and he sees you before you're set up, and you don't have your balaclava on. So I get deer in headlights. lights go down. In the lights go down, I usually grab the knife and then I would go like, fuck. And then the next scene is me returning to the bar where Trevor's hired me to commit that hit. But now I've got to explain that I botched it. So I go backstage, fucking wail into the door, and then 30 seconds later have to go back out on stage. So I have a gash in my head. I'm not sure, like my bell is rung. It's dark. I'm like, how much am I bleeding? I'm supposed to change from a clean tank top into a bloody tank top with prop blood, but realize that I have no time to do that. So I take my real blood, just blood up the shirt that I have, take the balaclava to soak up the blood that's here, lean over to our writer-director and be like, we're dealing with real blood now, and then go on stage to join him on stage. And then this is where your perspective
you
comes
entered an echelon of actor that day where you bled for the role.
Right.
And
I literally left
and you literally
blood and sweat.
and
Maybe
went
not
for it.
tears, but
I didn't realize, because what I keep telling people as I tell the story was that as I'm trying to figure this out, and the scene is written where the characters are named Lars and Trevor, and the scene is unraveling. My character is trying to unravel what happened, like what literally just happened
Right.
in the
And
fictional
why
Lars's
is there
universe.
blood on me?
I'm trying to discover why is he bleeding, and like what happened. Why was there a fuck up? And so as I'm doing this as the character, I'm like going through the lines, and I'm looking at Lars, and he's looking at me a little strange, and he's little, like, the odd line is just a little different.
And
I'm
we
like,
were switched, so it was this eye too. So you're sitting here
direct
looking at this, and
eye
he's looking at my
contact.
face swell in real time mid show, like basically pulsating
I'm
and
pretty-
bleeding
I'm pretty
on
scarred
him.
because I'm pretty sure at some point it like pulsed at me, where like it squirted out and was like
It's always good when it pulses at you.
I could see his blood, like heart rate pumping, and was just because we were on stage, like adrenaline was high, stakes were high, and he was trying to get her done, and all of a sudden it was just like blood, and yeah, I was like, God damn, this mofo is cut up and like as because the scene is all like 4-word lines that we just got to rattle back and forth as fast as possible. So I don't have time. We don't have long monologues back and forth with each
Right.
other. Where I can just stare and be like, okay, he's messed up, but how messed up is he? Looks like he's okay.
Right.
I can't really ascertain all that because
Yeah,
I
it's
have
just,
to be.
is that blood? Yes,
I mean,
blood.
Shotgun
What happened?
line,
What
just
happened?
quick,
You
yeah.
fell?
quick,
You
1,
fell?
2,
What?
1, 2.
We had drilled these beats in, like we had rehearsed, like
I
so
heard them talking about
vehemently.
last week. They were
Like,
drilling the beats.
It had to go this way, but at the same time, there was a live situation that was happening that I had to be present for, and
Yeah.
like it's almost like trying to recreate a painting, and then feeling the inspiration to suddenly do it a different
It's
way.
actually
like,
nothing like that.
No, I don't know what it's like. It's like
It's like trying to do something that you
I think we're
rehearsed with
starting to
someone.
somnambulize now, so let's just get back to
Here's what it
basics.
was like. It was like trying to do something that you rehearsed with someone, but now that person is concussed next to you. That's pretty much what it was like.
I'm just saying at this point, shall we say the name of the play? Because I mean, do we do shout to Chris?
Yeah, its
And-
working title is Murder
because
Sharks.
it's a work in progress, so you
Murder
might see it in the
Sharks.
Chris
future.
Elmer of Lucky Fool Productions. Yeah, thank you for giving us the opportunity. I'm sorry I concussed myself, and
Oh, and for those of you at home who are wondering what that very odd semi-background noise was, that was Liquid Dick. He's passed out and is now grinding his teeth and choking on his own phlegm. So
Give him the
give
mic.
him the mic.
Give him the mic.
Just put it in his
Give him
hand.
the mic. Put the mic up to him.
Rich, are you gonna survive this
Richie.
one? All right,
And we're back.
and that's our first aneurysm on the
Give
show.
him the mic.
I think we're fairly close to the end of the episode, right? Yeah, I would argue
5
the same
minutes.
is true.
Wow.
Well, we're gonna do our classic 5-minute wind down.
I can't say we accomplished a whole lot tonight, did we? I don't know.
You know,
I feel bullied.
I mean, we had moments, but
I'm not,
you
I'm
feel
not
bullied?
sure. I'm not
Why?
sure
'Cause
what
I
our
shushed you?
accomplishments could
No,
be
because you
scored
guys
by
are just so much
generally.
bigger than I am,
Oh,
and because you shushed me.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to shush you.
That's all right.
I did it for comedic effect.
I
Not,
was
not
I was
for
drunk on
real.
election.
Sorry, go ahead.
Because you shushed me.
Go ahead.
No, I.
Go ahead, mister.
How daunting it is. Thank you for letting me getting that off. Oh,
I just think it's quite
30
amusing
minutes.
that the two of them are afraid of being bullied. At the
On our
moment.
own
I'm not afraid
podcast.
of it.
You just think it happened?
it just happened.
That's the wimpiest thing I've ever heard. Being bullied on a podcast.
That's something a
on
bully
your own podcast.
That's something a bully would say.
We bullied him on his own podcast.
I guess that's
I'm
something a
sorry.
victim would say.
Hey, let's also be clear.
Yeah.
I didn't fucking bully anybody. I
Am
was
I
just
am I
sitting here watching
triggering
these
you
two
right
bully
now?
each other like the hetero life mates they are.
actually.
We don't?
We don't touch
How's
that
this feel?
often.
It's because you're very fragile, so I don't want to hurt you.
It's true. I am.
Well, and before
baby-like.
we couldn't touch it because there were like glass balls hanging in my face, and if I moved too much, like I'd break the table. And
And for those who don't know what that means, it's exactly what you think it means.
Yeah.
you
We
know
should-
what it means.
We should shout out. We're here, of course, at Laughing Vikings.
Right?
Oh,
We
yeah.
made the switch here.
There you
Absolutely,
go.
we're Laughing
Finding our new
Vikings, which is
home.
amazing.
One more time, hit up. What's the new production company called? It's no longer Cifer Pics. It is. Yeah. Well, you can follow us at 39DD Show, and Karim also.
JDK captures.
JDK captures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, actually, it's JDK captures, one word.
JDK Captures, one word. And you can watch full episodes on YouTube, and you can listen to it everywhere that you can podcast, including Apple Podcasts. We're on
We're
Apple
actually
now.
celebrating this episode because this is the first episode that we've run where we have been on that platform. So
Yeah.
The approval.
That's
finally
all
went
right.
through, so we're everywhere now.
we have actually ascended, folks. We are breaking through to the other side.
Yeah.
Because I've been sacrificing goats to the spirit of Steve Jobs.
Right.
What
Me
have you
too.
been doing?
Me too.
Probably continue most of it.
Right.
Oh, and I guess final thought. It was election day, and if you didn't exercise your diplomatic or democratic right to vote, then you have no right to bitch about the stupidity you're living with right now.
Right.
Because remember,
This
this
is
is
a
a
bad
week
day.
after the election, so if you didn't vote and you really hate what's happened, hey man, you know,
You had your chance.
But-
suck it up.
But don't worry. Next year, if I get 4 years from now, if I get my way, it'll be even easier to vote. You can just vote while you're getting a double at Tim Hortons.
And you're going to vote for this
And
guy.
vote Classington.
A vote for Classington is a vote for the rest of us. Class.
Yeah, I'll be running against Classington.
Nice.
So if you
Let's
want
do
to
it.
vote
Let's
for like
all three of us run.
Oh my
That's good
God.
for publicity. Let's run against
Imagine
each
that.
other.
right, conservative, liberal, NDP.
Just for the show. And it'll be the whole
That's right,
chat. The whole
conservatives.
season 3 will be us
I'm your future.
running for office. And on that note,
I go. Thanks, guys. Love you.
Pod-
thanks
Come back now
everybody.
here.
Podcast over.